We live, man. We appreciate y'all, man. Let's go. Be more for real in the building, man. Shout out to the fans. Shout out to the day ones, man.
Be more for real. I am Uncle Wayne.
I'm OMG, man.
Oh, yeah.
OMG Danny, man.
Struggle again. Be more for real. It's Wednesday night, and we're back on the mic.
Back at it again. Let's go.
Yeah,
people joining the live. Yeah. We appreciate y'all. Yeah. We appreciate y'all, man. We are live and we are lit. It's another Wednesday, man. Another one. Just like that, man. We appreciate y'all. Be more for real. We appreciate every live viewer that we have right now. If you're listening on Facebook, please go over to the YouTube, like, share, subscribe, and do all that. We got a good show for you guys, man. We really do. We got a good show for you guys. How you feeling, Uncle Wayne?
Well, I'm here. Look, half the battle. When you're alive, that's half the battle. I need not complain. It's just our topics today.
Man, we're going to get to it, man. We got some good stuff for y'all. For real, man. It's Be More For Real.
Be more for real. Be for real.
We would
be
love
more for real.
We would love for y'all to stay tuned with us, man, because this what we're going to do. We're going to keep on educating people. They call it infotainment. So we're giving you guys entertainment and information at the same time. And it's stuff that's pertaining to Baltimore and it's stuff that's pertaining to the country and the entire world. I mean, it's a double entendre. I done already went through this, you know what I'm saying? We ain't gonna I gotta do it.
Ready for
I gotta show you the vocab and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? But we're gonna be more for real about everything. We appreciate all the viewers. Let's get right into the first one, the working poor versus the American dream. And this is a real heavy topic that we need to talk about. I don't think that people understand the gravity of what we're facing, especially in a country like America. They're selling us dreams, they're selling us hopes, and we have to talk about this. We have to discuss this because are we working towards this? What is the vision? What is the goal? What say you, Uncle Wayne?
You say this, like last week we had the show, or the week before, one paycheck from being evicted or repossessed. Same thing. The working poor, work. Complain.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's like, exactly. And we was talking about this earlier. And the people who work the less make the most.
Yep.
Isn't it insane?
Yep.
Them people sitting up there high and mighty, just racking in all these dollars. And the ones at the bottom that work so hard make so little. But you know what? Once again, I get on the black man. Because if we as black men made things work, things would be different. Our laws would be different. Rules and regulations, policies and procedures that change the dynamics. We can't keep living like this. And it says the top 98% makes more than 2% of the whole United States of America. That should tell you something. 2%. It used to be 30%. Now it's down to 2% after the pandemic. That should tell you something. All those people who had stock in everything, like hand sanitizer and the mask and all these other things they used during the pandemic, a lot of them had stock in. Right. So when we were down making nothing, they were still clocking.
Essential workers.
Look at Amazon.
Yep,
now,
still rolling.
If it wasn't for the people who work so hard to get those packages to you per day, then Amazon wouldn't be Amazon. It's not the big ones that up there who barely work. It's the ones down there on them assembly belts that's working their behinds off, those delivery drivers that make it happen. That's the reason why you're making all those billions of dollars.
Right.
But he think his idea gives him the billions of dollars. You see how it's unfair?
Right.
So the other ones that work for him, they complain, take the complaint home, and then their life at home is all upset because they didn't take their problems from their work into the home.
Right.
You see how it is?
And which leads to another subject. And also, to see it, I think the American dream, the white picket fence and all that stuff. Man, if you understand that what they did with the classes of America and the working system, they used to be a middle class. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the middle class was created somewhere around the 1950s. 50s, somewhere between that, 40s. Correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, just throw it in the chat. You know what I'm saying? I could stand to be corrected. We want to be more for real. We want to be more for real about that. We don't know everything and exactly when it happened, but if we do, we're going to say it. But what I'm saying is the middle class has been now destroyed. The gap between the rich and poor is larger than it has ever been. And so the American dream is and even the middle class, which is done away with, is like the top 10, 20, 15% of people in America. And that's the issue. You know what I'm saying? When you have most of the people living one way, but we see a lot of people living another way, it creates a whole delusional problem that we have.
Now.
It's 2%.
It's only 2% either. People live a hard life not. There's a lot of people who pretending to be rich, but they actually are not. It's the one, I'm telling you, it's down to 2% of the richest people in the United States of America have more money than almost 90. See, when I say this, people look like, this can't be real because it's inconceivable, but it's true. Mm-hmm. We're suffering because, look at you ready for this? Look at everybody who strikes now. Mm-hmm. The ones who write the movies, the directors, all of them on strike. Now the auto industry on strike, 3 major ones, mm-hmm. because they have realized after the pandemic, all the people up top sucking up all the money.
Right.
And the hard workers are complaining. And listen, we kick out money all over the ways with the credit card, and all of them got stock in all of them. The mm-hmm. credit card, everything. Listen, you ready for this? Even if you get locked up for screwing up, those rich people make money off of that because they invested in the jails too.
Right. And see, this is the problem with as it pertains to the working poor versus the American dream, because you have these people that are in America that work hard. They work a lot of hours. They work rough hours. And like you were saying with the Amazon workers, you know what I'm saying? A lot of them say it's borderline freaking slavery. You know what I'm saying? We're going to call a spade a spade. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them say it's borderline slavery. But
let's cut that out. Ain't no slavery.
I know it ain't, because there's people in other countries who are way worse. We can be more for real about that. I'm glad you said that. Look, we don't hide nothing, man. We don't hide nothing in this conversation, man. As a matter of fact, we'll give you some around. About that, we have to work a lot harder if we want to get a lot further in life, and that's true. But what I was saying is the people that are working and putting in the work, it should be no reason why these people are poor. You know what I'm saying? People work hard and can't even afford to even live in a home, have a car, take care of a family the way that you're supposed to. That's why people do not believe in the American dream. I took a poll on Facebook.
Did you?
I took a poll on Facebook, and I'll pull it up. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's interesting. You do a poll.
A couple people responded to it, and I'll tell you how the post went.
I could guess.
Okay.
But, surprise me if you may.
So on this post, it says that statistics say less than 36% of the American population say that they are living the American dream. So less than 36% of people say that they are living the American dream, and then 46% of people who were surveyed said that they don't believe at all. And so the question was posed, do you believe in the American dream? And so as it stands,
can I ask a question?
One person believes in the American dream.
What is the American dream? And what is middle class? I'm curious to know about.
That's a great question. The American dream is the having a house and the family with the white picket fences that I referenced earlier. So the American dream is basically to live your life free, and you making money and you got enough money to support yourself and you not struggling. You know, the stuff you see on TV and the movies that they try to sell us. And that's another problem with the movies that we always talk about. You know what I'm saying? Life imitates art and art imitates life. These people that are in movies, they're trying so hard to seem like they are real life people when really they're the top 1% of people. Not 10, not 5, not 15. These are the top 1% of people in our society. And they make it seem, and you see them every day. And that's what creates the American dream, because you see what you see in this entertainment and you say, look, why can't I have that? Why can't I have that? But statistics tell you that 99% of the people do not live like them. They don't live like these people. True. So that's True the American dream. And that's why I say it is a delusion. But while we at it, we want to make sure that we always give an applause for the people that's doing. Shout out to all the viewers.
Subscribe.
Definitely.
We need you to subscribe, you all.
Definitely like, share, subscribe, man. If you're on Facebook, go over to the YouTube. We appreciate you guys wholeheartedly, for real. We want to shout out the viewers. But we also have this video I want to show. If I can share the screen here. Let's say the screen. And let's go ahead and press play. We do not own the rights to this or anything. But let me go ahead and try to share the screen right now. And we got a video we want to play. Let me know if y'all can hear it. Drop 1 in the chat. If you can hear it, then drop a 1 in the chat. If you can't, drop a 2.
We eat when we are bored, angry, sad, or lonely. We eat to treat ourselves after a long day, to comfort ourselves after an argument, to escape from our problems, or to distract ourselves from our unhappy and dysfunctional life. Some of us eat food to punish themselves when they feel guilty. We eat because food changes how we feel. We eat because for some of us, food is our drug of choice. It seems like a solution for everything. I remember the day when I was driving home, crying. I just spent a few days with my boyfriend, and on the way back home, I went to petrol stations to buy chocolates, muffins, cakes. I didn't want anyone to notice how much junk food I was buying, so I went to 3 different petrol stations. We lived 1.5 hours drive apart, so you can imagine how much food I had in the car. I knew it was wrong to eat all that food, but it was like something took over me, and as I was eating, I was crying to the point of not being able to see the road ahead of me. I felt ashamed. All I could think about was, my life is a mess.
Okay, I'm glad somebody pointed that out. KP, yeah, KP said too. So this is not the correct video. I appreciate that, brother KP. This isn't the right video. We're gonna get the production right. We appreciate you. What we're gonna put on is the real video. Let's go ahead and take this off. Sorry about that, guys. We're still working on it. Work with us, bear with us. We're gonna get it together. And that's another problem with going live. You know what I'm saying? Live, you experience different issues as opposed to actually recording a show. So bear with us. You're gonna see what we can see right here. Let's go ahead and replay this.
The working poor, we live it every day.
Can y'all hear it? Drop 1s in the chat.
Yeah.
2s if you can't hear it.
Especially in the Northwest neighborhood.
Hey, Stubbs. All right, here, you gotta sign here.
Oh, my sign's on, I get screwed.
Well, it's life.
My husband, who is a construction worker doing stucco, he gets laid off at the end of the year, and we have to live off from unemployment. We rob Peter to pay Paul. Why one bill's getting paid, the next is gonna be overdue. Listen, this is not the slum. We work just as hard as anyone else. With the whole refugee thing, it's hard to say, you know, because nobody has connected with us. And from what I understand, a majority of them are coming to this neighborhood because of the affordable housing. What we're feeling and expressing is what any neighborhood would. You know, why are they taking care of these refugees and not somebody else in the area who has been here their whole life?
All right, I want to reiterate that we do not own the rights to the video, but you saw what it's like being a working poor. She said that her husband got a job, you know, he does his work, and at the end of the year, he gets laid off, and then it's like unemployment. This is what people are facing in America. I could go on and on. If you go on TikTok, there's a list of people. If you go in that category that talk and they be crying on camera, these are people. Now, I always talk about people crying on camera. I don't believe it, but these are people that are really fed up.
Oh,
They're
you
talking
don't
about their
believe people
job.
cry on camera?
No, I don't like that. Look, if you crying on camera, ain't nothing damn wrong with you. Damn it, ain't nothing wrong with you. But on this particular instance, I will make an exception because people are fed up. It was a nurse that she said she worked, you know, her 12-hour shifts and stuff like that. She come home, she still have to do her due diligence. She wakes up 5:30 in the morning, walks her dogs or what have you, and she goes about her day. She has a husband who works too, and these people are struggling. You know what I'm saying? They were working class people. She's a nurse. She's a essential worker and things like that, and these people are struggling. So, I mean, a lot of people are losing hope on the American dream. That's because it's not real, and we here to be more for real about that. You know, the American dream is not real. Stop believing that crap. You have to look at the world for what it is. You know what I'm saying? To see how the world values. See how the America values you as a person. You will know how America values you. You will know your real circumstances every day you wake up and in whatever predicament you in. So whether you wake up in jail, whether you wake up in your own house, whether you wake up in your own car because people are sleeping in their own cars, I mean, you know your situations. Yeah. And this is the reality and the gravity of what we're living in. And this is why it's important that we talk about that, because they're selling us a dream. They're selling us a hope. And I'm just telling you, it's not real. These are the top X amount of people. Most people just don't live like that. And that's the problem. We keep seeing this stuff on TV all the time, and it's creating a delusion. We thinking that we're going to get there. We thinking that you're going to get there. There is not a job you can name in America that's going to pay you $1 million. Name one.
Don't work like that.
It don't work like that.
9 to 5 is not going to make you successful. It's inconceivable.
It don't work like that.
It flips the other way around too, because being rich does not make a person happy. You know, your bills are paid, you got more money, but money is only but money. You really need love. We keep missing the mark. It's unconditional love that makes the difference. Because if I love you, I'm not going to see you starving. That's just how it is. Mm-hmm. But we think that we have to have the best of the best to prove that we're happy. And we failing at that. I'm 60. If we teach you the only way to be successful is to be rich and famous, then I failed you. Rich and famous people aren't always happy. Poor people struggling, not always unhappy.
Right.
You know, it's a difference. It's really unconditional love. It's how you handle yourself. If you go around somebody, you want to go around somebody who make you feel a certain way. You don't want to go around somebody because how much money they make. Right. And if you do, that should tell you the type of person that you are. Right. You know, but there are some people that only hang around people for what they have. And some people accept people to hang around them for what they have. Right. And that's why the ending is what it is. You are who you are. If you keep trying to keep up with the Jones, you know, like a lot of times people, bills paid. This is the number one thing that gets me, credit card bills. This is the one that knocks me to a loop. If you can't afford it, you don't supposed to get it. It makes no sense that you bought something last year and still paying for it. That doesn't make sense. You look at stuff you had bought, you still paying a little bit by a little bit by a little bit.
I mean, that's a good way to look at it. But in this system, see, I mean, I know we don't agree on everything. I mean, we're not. We be more for real about everything. So what I'm saying is like in this economy that we haven't built, which is a capitalist society, credit is king. You know what I'm saying? Because it allows you to even not put money down on stuff, and you be able to obtain that
Helps
asset.
with the greed.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it does.
That's what it
And
does.
so you have to know how to use credit in a way where it's beneficial to you. So
Is there
a
a
wise
way?
man, matter of fact, let me not say a wise man.
Is there a way to
Yeah,
really use credit
my brother
cards?
told me, I'm not gonna lie, my older brother, Sam, shout out to my brother, but he told me a long time ago, he was like, look, people use credit to buy depreciating assets, and that's not how you're supposed to use credit. You use credit to fund your businesses and stuff like that. That's going to actually make more money for you. You know what I'm
It's a good way
saying?
to
So
do
that
it.
you're not
It's a
spending your money.
wise
And he
way.
said that's not even the way you're supposed to spend your money, but definitely
That's
your
a
credit. You
wiser
don't
way.
use credit to buy clothes and all that stuff. You use it to fund your businesses that you're getting money back out of. So you flipping the credit and you're using other people's money the whole time. That's how the rich keep getting richer, because they're never using their own dollar. And it makes absolute sense. And shout out to my brother Sam. I'm gonna go ahead and give him.
You know, we talk about our issues, but we also talk about our solutions. So what would be the solution to our topic, first topic of that?
Well, the solution to the topic will actually
Strike,
the solution to the
walk
topic.
out, strike like the rest of
I wouldn't
everybody
say
else.
strike or walk out. I would definitely say you work. You got to keep working, but I mean, we have to understand that these jobs are temporary. They don't care about us. Eventually, we have to, develop some skills somewhere down the line that's going to be beneficial where you can create business. America is absolutely a country that is created on business, and it's also created on ignorance. That's how they keep people buying these things that we're purchasing. So the solution would be to
Like $3,000 Gucci t-shirts.
the solution, I would say, and it's radical. It's very radical. My solution would be to take your money that you get from your work and invest that into your craft, into your skills, so that you can get out of that job. Because whether or not you pay them bills and all that stuff, and I heard this from Steve Harvey, and I'm not a big fan of the guy, but you know what I'm saying? I eat the meat and throw away the bones. He said, look, you gotta whether or not you got skills or not, them bills are still gonna be there. You know what I'm saying? They still gonna be there, bro.
Because you made the bills.
Yeah, they still gonna be
Stop
there.
making bills unnecessary. I understand when you have to take bills for a roof over your head and a vehicle for insurance, but we take out credit for any and everything. They even got some things that's online now. If you charge something, they got something else that you only had to pay. You can break that up on top of breaking it up on the credit card, on top of breaking another one up. I'm telling you, got so many gadgets now where these people make money where they want you to buy something that you can't afford and you really don't need to keep you in debt. So you can complain the whole time.
Right.
So if we can complain, we're not feeling what we've got. That's why I say I can't do this to buy a pair of tennis shoes a year ago that's out of style and I'm still paying on them. It just doesn't make sense. Really, I didn't need them anyway. Get what I'm saying? Imagine if I didn't buy them tennis shoes at that time. Well, athletic shoes, whichever where you are to live to understand. Let's say if I knew I didn't need it, it was a increase of money I really didn't have and didn't buy it. As that year went by, guess what? That bill would have been gone. I wouldn't have. That's how it is with a whole bunch of things.
But
work hard, think smart.
My thing is like I said, and we're running out of time. It's like, look, man, them bills are going to be there regardless.
If you don't
get you a skill, get you a craft, and everything that you work for, put it into that. Invest in that. Stop investing in these bills. You're making other people rich. You paying somebody else rent. You paying somebody else money to lease the car, to get the car, whatever the case may be. Man, stop doing that. You're making other people rich. This is why the black dollar don't circulate in our community as much, because we're not wise financially.
No, real quick. Remember I told you I was selling cars? Give you a prime example how it is. Remember I told you a white person will come in there and they will get a car with simple power steering and air conditioning. And they got they better credit, credit score making a certain amount of income. Our black person will come in there right behind them, wants a car with everything, top of the line.
Mm-hmm.
And they make the smallest amount, the worst credit and effort. And then the car that they trading in, somebody already cracked their head open on that one.
Right.
It's like you didn't learn from that one because they want something just to show off.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So a lot of times we're in debt because we want to show off.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Think about it.
Absolutely. We appreciate everybody for joining the stream. We appreciate you guys. We're gonna go ahead over to the next one.
Next topic for you.
The next topic.
This one really puzzled me though. You know what I mean? I'm gonna let you start off, but this topic itself, my brother, as me being 60, I keep saying there's a difference of age. I'm 60, and you are half my age.
Right.
That's why it's difference in our thinking pattern.
Mm-hmm.
But if I don't put down in you some values, then you ain't gonna put down in your children some values.
Right.
But this one here, yes.
Right.
Brother, we need applause.
We need some applause for this, man. How many people have heard? If you have heard about the recidivism rate, man, go ahead and give yourself an applause.
Absolutely.
If you know about the recidivism rate, go ahead and give yourself an applause as well. Because the whole thing is that the recidivism rate is basically it is the chances that someone that's a felon is going to reoffend and find themselves back in jail. I'm gonna just sum it up for you. It's the chances,
y'all. Listen.
It's the chances that a felon will repeat another crime and land himself back in jail, him or herself back in jail. And the recidivism rate is extremely high, and it doesn't make any kind of sense the way that it is, because when you check the recidivism rate, right, you got to understand why these things are happening. I'm a person that try to understand why these things are happening, and it's happening because, and it's not an excuse, but really it is a good excuse, if you will, because once you label someone as a felon and check out how they keep on having black men mass incarcerated, we talk about that. Yo, these young niggas is out here catching felonies at 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Your life done with, bro. You can't get a good job, bro. Even if you had something,
right?
Even if you had something as small as theft, right? People don't understand how theft being on your record is so harmful because you can't even be a cashier. You know what I'm saying? They don't want people that got theft on their record counting money and exchanging money and stuff like that. It only makes sense. But see, that's how slavery still exists, through the jail system and stuff like that too. You become a slave to the system. Slavery was never done away with. That's the 13th Amendment. But as I digress, the recidivism rate allows that because once you be slapped a felon, you can't get a good job. So the chances of you repeating and going out to the lifestyle that you know to get money and all that is very likely, because Burger King ain't gonna cut it. You understand what I'm saying? You working at these jobs ain't gonna get your house paid and all that stuff like how you used to get that money. You know what I'm saying? So what other choice you got? You know what I mean? Other than to go out and do the same thing that you know how to do to get money, which is illegal. You know what I'm saying? So now you find yourself back in a situation again, and you're going to land right back in jail because eventually they're going to catch you. And that's why the recidivism rate is the way that it is.
And that's the part that blows my mind. You a felon because they made the pen and say, this is against the law, and you broke it. Now you are a felon. Give you a prime example. Me at a younger age had $35 worth of marijuana. $35. It was the 2 fingers and a plastic bag, meaning that weed. I'm tired of buying dime bags of weed. So I do this. And then they charged me with felony. So, and I'm 19. So the rest of my future is destroyed because they signed and said it was against the law. Now watch this. The same pen sign and say, now marijuana is not against the law. Do you see how much sense that is? It's because they made the power to say what's the law and what's not. You are felon, you're not felon. Mm-hmm. And we start to believe that we are less than someone else because now they put a label on us and say, now I'm a felon. And we had to stop following ads because you did something while you were learning, which we all did. It is not one human being on the face of this earth has not broken a law. It's impossible. And if we understand that no one is better than anyone else, no one's less than anyone else. But when we accept it, you see the results because we don't have, watch this, black leaders standing up who change policies and procedures you know what I mean, and change the laws within itself. That's why we're suffering. Look how it is now. You have to work at those jobs less than now because you now have what they call, remember this, a felon.
Right.
You know, it's up to us. If we don't change it, we're going to still be known as felons. Get it?
We got a video to share for that as well too. One's in the chat if you can hear it. If you can't hear it, no, just throw one in the chat. If you can't hear it, we'll correct it. If you can, you don't even have to.
Let us know. Let us know.
You don't even have to say nothing right now. We're loading. Let's see what it say. I don't know why it's doing that.
Who've been there before. The Department of Justice says 6 out of 10 prisoners released in 2012 were rearrested within 3 years. The bad news is that those numbers are still high. Thousands of people caught in a cycle of being in and out of jail. The good news is that, according to those 2012 numbers, the most recent available, the reincarceration rate declined compared to 2005. Circumstances that drive people to offend in the first place are often the same circumstances that land them back on the inside.
I was willing to commit a crime, you know, which with the chances of going back, because I felt like, what was the point of me being here? Like, I didn't have another shot.
The Bureau of Justice Statistics reports that people who've been arrested several times in the past tend to be arrested at even higher rates post-release. Breaking the cycle can be difficult. There are several reasons why. After release, people have trouble landing a job, and there may be other barriers, like finding a place to live.
I thought I would feel lower being in prison, but sometimes coming home and not be able to provide or do what you're supposed to do can make you feel even lower.
But researchers say that offenders with more education and vocational training are less likely to reoffend. Reentry programs centered on adult development are a critical step to prepare prisoners to reenter society.
A lot of respect, integrity, the love, the faith.
And it's important to get to them sooner rather than later, as people are most likely to commit new crimes within the first 2 years of their release. A recent analysis by the Council on Criminal Justice says rearrest rates within 5 years are still high, but researchers are encouraged by the downward trend. The reason the numbers are going down is unclear, but the council notes fewer people being arrested for minor offenses, more federal money being spent on reducing recidivism, and private businesses increasingly open to hiring former criminals. States like Michigan have seen tremendous drops in incarceration rates after implementing reentry programs. Other countries are ahead of the United States, which has 2 million people behind bars. Norway, for example, has one of the lowest recidivism rates in the world. Just 1 in 5 people end up back in prison after release. Advocates say that's because the Norwegian criminal justice system places a priority on restorative justice and rehabilitation, like job training and mental health counseling. John Moan, Newsy.
All right, we don't own the rights to that either. You guys were able to actually see a visual about the recidivism rate and kind of what it looks like. And one thing they stared away from is how Black people are falling victim to that, because we know Black people are incarcerated unjustly. They just will not acknowledge that. This is why a lot of times this country will not heal from certain stuff like that. And I will keep saying that because we be bleeding from wounds that we refuse to address. So, of course, we're going to bleed out. Racism is one of them. Mass incarceration is another one of them. Abortion and all that stuff is another one of them. Marriage and all that stuff is another one of them. We bleeding out from too many places. We got too many wounds not to address what's going on with us. And we wonder why we messed up as a country and as a race. Come on now. Let's give a round of applause for that too. Let's give a round of applause for that. Let's give a round of applause for that, because we be more for real on this one, man. We talk about real stuff. And you got something else you want to add about that?
But the solution. Straight to the solution.
The solution to the recidivism rate is actually us believing as a country, and we got to beat them at their own game, for real. You know what I'm saying? They say these politicians and all that stuff, we withdraw our vote. We don't give a crap if you Democrat, Republican, or whatever. If you don't uphold our views, if you don't do what we ask for, you will not get this vote. And this is why this podcast is important, because we're going to get the power of the people behind us, and we're going to get the people to make accurate decisions. We're going to give them the information unbiasedly so that we can make accurate decisions. But we're going to do it as a collective so that we can control what goes on in our neighborhoods and our community. You will not. We will refuse for you to represent us. You will have nothing to do with us if you don't meet our demands as a people and do what you're supposed to do as a person of the government. What you say?
Hey, I wholeheartedly agree with you.
What you say?
Well said.
Yeah, I appreciate that. He said you need some applause for that. Let's get some applause for that.
Well said. Well said.
And the topic of the night. Man, the topic of the night, man.
This will wears me out.
This
all the way around, which
thing,
we know is the true fact here.
This thing is a missile. Food is the new drug. And I'll even add it's made for us to be addicted and not nutritious. Food is the new drug. It is made for us to be addicted and not nutritious. What say you, Uncle Wayne?
Well, listen, you know that food has always been the new drug. We understand. People like this, you don't realize you have an addiction. People say addiction for a whole thing. A lot of people have addiction for food, and it's a true fact. It becomes a comfort. When the world is unkind, that good feeling of eating, and we eat. It's a lot of people who just are glutton. And it's bad on your health. It's bad mentally all the way around. You don't understand something. 3 meals a day was created by one more time, not us. Life is just not set up that way. People look at me and say, are you crazy, Wayne? That's what society set up, 3 meals a day. That's just not what you're supposed to do. I'm sorry, it's not. And they said breakfast is the most important breakfast of the day. Another lie. You know, you don't really suppose all that you eat and you, especially meat itself, it sits in the body. God set up things to be fresh because if your mind clear, you think better, you make better decisions. But greed becomes an addiction. Mm-hmm. Remember, greed is the only thing. You can never become an addict if you weren't greedy. You know, what do you mean? How can you become an addict? You weren't greedy. You kept going overboard. That's how you become an addict. That's how you become an overeater. That's another thing. Comfort zone, eat. There's a moderation to everything. Most of us just don't care. We do whatever we want and then complain later. That's why we're in the situation we're in now. You know?
Man,
time for a change, y'all.
It's crazy out here, man, because like if you never heard it, you heard it here first. And to be honest with you, man,
BMore4Real. That's the honor.
You heard it right here on BMore4Real. You heard it right here first. Matter of fact, we're gonna give applause for that too, man. We're gonna give applause for that. You heard it right here first, man. Food is the new drug, man. It's made for us to be addicted and not nutritious. We gotta stress this to the people. You hearing this here first. I told you, entertainment and information at the same time. We gotta get this to the people because the food that they giving us is just straight up daggone near poison, man. I'm telling you.
Milk. Look at the milk as a child. When they say, and I don't understand this, when they say some mothers can't feed the children, I understand that, but it should be little to none. Most moms can feed their children. Think about it. Look at it. Let me go ahead and send that tape. You got to understand something. They start out with the wrong type of milk. Then it's the wrong type of this. Then they had to have medication for this, medication for that, medication for this for this. Then it's certain type of food that. And then I told you the greed part. Remember when a child is young, if they're crying a lot or disobedient, the parent always push food in front of their face so they could keep them from crying.
Right.
Do you understand? That's another thing that they do. Just shove it in their face.
Right.
And that's another thing that they become addicted by just eating everything all the time.
Right. Right.
So we do. So we have to watch that. We are the first counselors of our children. But we don't start that. That's why they end up to what they are now.
Okay,
look,
so we got a comment
all day, every day.
Really quickly. We got a comment from ANG. We appreciate you for watching. As
all
always,
day, every day.
Don't think addiction comes from overdoing it. It comes from repetition. So that's what this person's saying. We appreciate you. Shout out. Let's give you a round of applause for the comment. Let's go ahead and give our comment.
We can debate on that. You know, some comments we debate on. I had to debate on that one.
Hey.
Now. You can do it repeatedly. You can get used to it, but that don't mean you get addicted to it. Addicted is when you overdo it. That's when you lock into addiction. Remember that. When you overdo, let's say, for example, when a person, let me give you a prime example. When I'll give you relationships, give you a prime, because people don't think that people are addicted. That is the number one addiction of all time. When you're in bad relationships, when you know that the other individual is bad for you in all the ways. But you're addicted because you want that person to be around.
Right.
You love the argument. You love all that stuff. And that whole family tell you they treat you like pure D-S-H-I-T. But yet we love that kind of abuse. It's called addictive. By being greedy. You know, you level nothing up. Same thing.
Well, my thing is, I don't mean to split hairs about addiction.
Split them.
But humans are addictive by nature. It's what you are addicted to. You either have good habits or you have bad habits. Some people have bad habits like drug use and, you know what I'm saying, or what have you. Some people really do have good habits like going to the gym, eating healthy and all that other stuff. But either way you see it, humans are habitual creatures. That's a word for you. Wink, wink. Humans are habitual creatures by nature. It's the habits that we choose to have, which is the problem. So to say that somebody is addicted to something is not far-fetched. Everybody's addicted to something. Is what you are addicted to. It's common behavior. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I think we have to attack English and all this stuff, because this stuff is not clearly being said. I'm telling you, on the show, people might look at me now like I'm crazy. I'm going to attack English. I'm going to straight up attack English because that's the way that we communicate. And this shit is not clear. When we be using these words, we don't know how to translate it with each other because this shit is not clear. That's why you need a lawyer to represent you in court, because the law is not clear. We should not get down like that with our people. We should have clear communication on what's expected of us, or people are left with assumptions and it creates violence and confusion.
But
and all
y'all
types
younger
of stuff.
generation, listen, I tell you I'm 60, y'all younger generation have the worst communication skills ever.
Yeah, we do.
And then y'all children's communication skills is like this. That's how you communicate.
We got another comment from Anne. She said, I don't become addicted to alcohol. She said, I don't become addicted to alcohol from getting blackout drunk. I get addicted to alcohol from doing it every day, so much that I can no longer live without it.
No, see, you can break a habit. It's hard to break an addiction. You can break if you just drink every day. That's a habit. That's understandable.
And Uncle Wayne was a counselor too, so yeah, let's give it up for Uncle Wayne on that. Let's give it up. Hey, he's a mighty counselor. He is.
Let me give you some advice. A habit you can break, but an addiction.
Appreciate y'all.
Addiction is a whole different story. Addiction because you were greedy. That's even relationships. The same thing. I'm gonna tell you how a relationship is. When you don't work, you up on each other all the time. Watch this. I'm gonna say this. It becomes greed. You get used to that, but after a while, one person getting sick and tired of it. You understand? Because too much of anything is bad for you. You up under each other every day. And that's why I said, when in a relationship, you shouldn't work together. That's the worst thing, to be in a relationship and work together too. It's too much of anything is bad for you, except God.
Now, I don't want to stray too far away from the conversation. We appreciate our viewers. You guys are definitely going to dictate the conversation. But what we want to talk about is food being addiction. And I mean, we could split hairs over addiction, but food being addiction is something crazy, man. I'm telling you, it's something they putting in the food. I was watching it. I don't know what it was. It's a movie or something like that. And they had this chicken. If y'all know what I'm talking about, put it in the chat, man. They had this chicken.
This blew my mind.
And everybody was eating a chicken or whatever. And the secret sauce was in the chicken. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of stuff with chicken, man. And black people consume more chicken than any other person. Let's go ahead and
wait a minute. We consume more what?
Chicken. Let's go. Let me share this really quickly, because I don't like to talk about things that I don't know about. So let's go ahead and see this. Let's go ahead and pull this up really quickly. I'm sure you guys can see this.
So blacks actually consume more chicken?
So this is by NCBI, and it's a .gov website, so we can fact check it. It said blacks had the highest annual total meat consumption at 64.2 kilograms, followed by East Asians at 53.6 kilograms, whites at 46, and Hispanics at 35. Blacks ate significantly more chicken than any other ethnic groups, and East Asians ate significantly more pork and processed meat. Regardless of ethnicity, grilling, roasting, broiling were the preferred methods, and whatever the case may be. But this is what I wanted to. If you want to read it, man, you can. Hopefully, you can see the website.
That was a myth. You know how they said black folks and chicken and watermelon.
Man, and I'm telling you, it's stuff in the chicken. I was applying for a job one day, right? And at the job, they was telling me that they was fighting against arsenic in chicken, right? and they was, I forgot what it kind of was.
Arsenic and chicken.
It kind of was like a lobbyist type of thing, because the grains and stuff that they were feeding chickens were not only making them big and all that stuff. A lot of chicken had arsenic in it, and they wanted to go to the council and all this other stuff, and they was trying to see whether or not they wanted me on the campaign, which I didn't get the job, by the way. I was probably the smallest person in there, but I was the only black person though, so I think that was the issue, to be honest with you. And this was in Baltimore, but nonetheless, I learned something from this job because they asked me to study this and what I said about this, and it was astronomical because none of them came to the fact that black people ate more chicken than the rest of them. So this is near and dear to me. You know what I'm saying? The stuff that they doing in chickens is crazy. And back in
no bull with chicken, man, look, and black.
Hold on, we got some comments. Before I get into this, we got some comments. Television said, LOL, Tyrone, the cloning Tyrone movie. Yes, that was the movie. They cloning Tyrone. That's the movie when they was eating the chicken, man. I'm telling you, they put the truth in these movies, man. Let's give television some applause for that, man. I appreciate that. I hit it right on the nose, man.
I'm puzzled. Chicken and blacks. But you know what? Sooner or later,
and say the same thing. They clone Tyrone. Yes, we appreciate y'all. Let's give and some applause as well too, man. We appreciate y'all. We really do, man. We appreciate y'all wholeheartedly, man. It's crazy though, but you know, chicken today, right? Well, let me say this: chicken back in the 1930s, it was a delicacy, and we're talking about 100 years ago, coming up on 100 years ago, right? So chicken, it used to take at least 180 days, I think it was. Well, let's say at the least it was 112 days from the time it hatched to the time it was able to be processed for meat. It was about 112 days. Can you guess how many days it is now? It's about 47 days, I believe. 47 days. And chickens are not only bigger, they're 3 times as bigger. They have 3 times as much weight, and they grow in less than half the time. That is crazy to think about all the stuff that they're giving us. And look, let's be more for real, because I mean, you're hearing it here first. They give these chickens antibiotics, right? And we get stuff like salmonella and all that stuff from the chickens. And the problem is that they are becoming the salmonella and the bacteria and stuff like that. They're becoming resistant to antibiotics. That's something that they're not telling us on a mass scale. We need to know this. They are becoming resistant to antibiotics. So once you eat these chickens and stuff like that, you basically are done. You know what I'm saying? Once you get sick from them and all that stuff, you're basically done, because they give the chickens the same antibiotics they give humans. And they're building up a resistance to them because you keep on giving it to them. And bacteria is now becoming drug resistant to these things. So we have to be careful as people in America. I don't know how America is allowing this to happen. What the Food Drug Administration is doing, but they have a plan, they have an intention, and that's why they had that burger day and all that stuff. Shout out to my man. Shout out to my brother. Shout out to my brother Mo. He get
off the chicken.
He told me, right? He was like, and I ain't gonna lie. He told, let's be more for real. I ain't gonna lie. He came up to me. He was like, yo, they selling burgers for 1 cent. Would you buy it? I'm like, nigga, hell yeah, right? He was like, yo, you crazy as shit, bro. He's like, yo, you crazy, because guess what? I think they trying to do something. They trying to poison people. As high as food prices is now and all that other stuff that they've been doing, why would you try to buy that? And I said, yo, that made sense. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't buy one, you know what I'm saying? But it was a lot of us who did. We're not trying to. It was less than that. It was less than that. I mean, let's be more for real. Who know about it, man? If you know about it, you better say something. This the time to say something, because we got to talk about this, about how they might be potentially poisoning us and killing us off through all of these viruses and stuff like that. And we're not a propaganda show. We're not a show of anarchy. We're a show of straight up being more for real about our situations and circumstances and everything around us. We just got to look at it objectively and put our feelings to the side. All this stuff that we can't eat, that they poisoning us. They putting poison in the food. It's a lot of stuff we can't eat, bro. It's a lot of stuff we can't eat. It's a problem.
Do we pay attention? Do we do something about it? We won't. We still gonna eat it, just like you said. If it's cheap and inexpensive, of course we're gonna order it. We don't care. We want it, and guess what? We want it fast.
And see, and that's another thing too that we can be more for real about is the black people diet. I just read the statistic. We don't. That's why I said we consume more meat than any other race. First of all, most of the other races eat vegetables and all that stuff. We consume a high amount of meat, red meat, and all this other stuff. And then on top of that, we don't eat as much vegetables and stuff like that. And the vegetables is another thing too. It's not like they haven't been poisoned and all that stuff. We can't watch out for vegetables.
We need to grow our own.
But we wonder why we having certain health problems and all that stuff. It's because of the foods, man. It's because of our diets, man. Let's be more for real, yo. Our diet is the worst. Soul food is a horrible diet, man. If you grew up on soul food, man, you need a doctor, man. You need to get your blood pressure checked. Soul food is so good.
Windmill here,
I know it's so good, man. It's so good.
I love my soul food,
but God daggone it, man. The diet that we had was even given to us because the pig feet and all that stuff, the chitlins.
Yeah.
That was the scraps of the tables. We had to take the organs, the livers, and all that stuff. We had to make what we have do.
Yeah, make it work.
Another interesting fact about food is that white people don't season their food for a reason. Everybody want to know why white people don't season their food. I know they wanted to know, right? White people don't season their food because a lot of times they had what you call quality meat, and they wanted to. And then at the time, having seasonings and stuff was not highly accessible in the land they live in. They had to get it imported, as opposed to people that grew up in areas where spices and stuff like that naturally grown at. So they didn't live in areas and regions of the world where the spices naturally grew at. So the best thing that they had was a little bit of salt and pepper. And so it's literally in their history not to season food, especially in the northwestern Europe part, you know what I'm saying, where you can't grow a lot of stuff. It's cold almost all year round. They didn't have seasons and stuff like that. So when we see white people don't season their food, they literally do not season their food. They don't. You understand what I'm saying? And it's because of that reason. You know what I'm saying?
Now, let's flip the
They actually have a reason why white people don't season their food.
There's another reason why we have more season on our food.
Because our food was the worst quality.
Yeah.
And we had to dress it up.
Said that.
Oh, Uncle Wayne about to go ahead and hit him. BMore4Real.
Season in there so we could eat it.
Yeah. So it can be edible. Man, that is a main fact, man. Look, when you talking about infotainment, it don't get no realer than this. So make sure y'all like, share, subscribe.
Now, what are our solutions to this situation?
Man.
Now, that's one to think about, right? The solution.
Our solution is, well, I would say my solution is to definitely pay attention to your diet. The Bible actually lays out a diet if you don't have one, but a lot of other cultures, as well as Muslim, as well as Pan-Africans, a lot of people, they don't eat a lot of stuff. A lot of people that became vegetarians because of what they even doing to the meat and how they even treat the meat coming before you even eat and get to your plate. I mean, it's truly gruesome if you would look at the treatment that these animals were getting, and it probably would make you not want to eat meat if you had like some type of heart and you know what I'm saying, empathy for animals. You know what I'm saying? But as I digress, the solution would be to have a healthy diet. You know what I'm saying? Our diet is important. You know what I'm saying? The most health is wealth. You know what I'm saying? And in our black community, the reason why we dying off and all that stuff is not just homicides, it's heart attacks and stuff like that too. You know what I'm saying? Our diet is killing us, man.
And broken heart.
Our diet is killing us, man. Secondary over homicide and all that stuff, more than homicides and car accidents. I'm telling you, our diet, we are the most unhealthy people in the world because we have our crazy diets that got a bunch of salt and everything, high sodium. I'm still not totally sure about MSG. I like MSG. I love MSG. It tastes really good. For those who don't know what MSG is monosodium glutamate. It's a salt, but it's more like a salt concentrate, and it gives you that savory taste that you get from your senses. You have 5 taste buds. What is it? Sour, sweet. What is it? Sour, sweet. Don't another one. Savory. Buds, you know? Yeah, sour, sweet. You got savory, salty, and one other thing. You know what I'm saying? We have 5 taste buds, but the 5th one was recently discovered through MSG, which is monosodium glutamate. They take sodium and they add glutamate to it, and it intensifies. It's like a salt concentrate, just like how you got juice concentrate that came in the thing. It's not real juice or whatever. It's like juice concentrate. You add a little bit of water to it. I mean, that thing is the salt concentrate. You only need a little bit, and it brings out the flavor tremendously. I mean, I love the taste of MSG, but I'm not gonna sit here in front like it's healthy for you. I'm still.
Well, you did
not
a whole
sold on that.
advertisement for them.
Yeah.
They should love you to death.
Ah, man.
I'm learning
That
what
come
it
from
is,
me
you
being a
know?
foodie. That really come from me being a foodie. And like I was saying, food is made for us to be addictive, and that's what they're doing to the food. They're
And we
not
gotta
making
stop.
it nutritious. They're spraying it with all this other stuff. They're hitting them with the antibiotics and all this stuff. It's not really for us to get nutrition from. Food is actually made now that we're going to keep on buying it, and we can't live without it. That's why we live in a country full of overweight people. Food is addictive. It's the new drug. And you heard it here first. They're not even trying to acknowledge the fact that food is a drug. And let me go ahead and play this video. We're running out of time here. Let me go ahead and share this video. And we're going to be just about out of here. We're going to be just about out of here. So drop the ones in the chat if you can hear it. If you can't hear it, drop the twos in the chat. So let's go.
2 new studies explore how some of us may be addicted to food. The most addictive include chocolate, cookies, and chips. The research suggests certain types of food may attract people the same way as heroin and cocaine do. Our own Dr. Holly Phillips joins us this morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning, Charlie.
So what do these studies tell us?
Right. Well, both of these studies involved about 500 people, and researchers asked them about their attitudes and behavior around food, specifically whether certain foods made them act or feel in ways that go along with addiction, like losing control. And then they honed in on which foods people thought caused them the most problems.
I know potato chips had to be on the list because it is not American to just eat one. It cannot be done.
No, absolutely not surprising.
Are they on the list?
They are on the list. In
figured.
fact, they're in the top 5.
Yeah,
So
I
things
get it.
like pizza, chips, cookies. And this isn't surprising. These are foods that are either heavily processed or high in fat, sugar, and refined carbohydrates. Importantly, they also have something called a high glycemic load. And this is in part a measure of how fast and how intensely the foods raise your blood sugar. That's important because that acts on reward centers in the brain and directly affects cravings.
But it's different than drug addiction, isn't it?
It is. It's really important to point out food addiction is not a recognized medical diagnosis. And in fact, the term itself is a little bit controversial. We can't equate it with drugs because, for instance, we know drugs, say heroin, permanently change the wiring of the brain. Drugs make permanent structural changes in your brain that cannot be reversed, and they build tolerance and withdrawal. But on the other hand, we do know some foods act on neurotransmitters in our brains, like dopamine. And even in studies, lab rats develop binging and addictive patterns around double stuffed Oreos. So there might be some links, but the science is still kind of out there.
How do you know if you're addicted?
Well, there's something called the Yale Food Addiction Survey. You can ask yourself questions specific. How often do you eat more than you've planned to? Do you keep eating even though you're not hungry? Do you eat to the point of feeling ill? And according to respondents in this survey, about 5 to 10% of Americans do have some amount of what they're calling food addiction.
Eat more than planned, eat when not hungry.
It's true. But you know what?
Dr. Holly, I have a problem.
No, but
I don't eat till I'm ill, but I do eat when I'm not hungry.
Yeah, and very few people feel uncontrollable
because
cravings.
Charlie, wait a second.
Yeah.
You'll see something that's just so good and you weren't planning to eat it, but it just looks so visually pleasing. You go, I just got to taste it. That never happens to you?
Not that much.
No.
Really?
You, Nora, that never happens to you?
Well, it does.
Oh
The want happens.
Yeah.
The want happens. And
but
then,
you have the willpower.
Well, yeah. But I do think there's something in cell biology and your taste buds too that does change. And I think that's a very important thing to recognize because it's not just a willpower issue. There are things change in your cell the more you get attuned to certain types of foods.
Yeah, very much so, Nora. And I think you're touching on this hot button issue. That's why food addiction is such a topic now. The question is, if certain foods are addictive, do food manufacturers play a role?
Yes.
Should they be held accountable? We know they hire scientists to get exactly the right mix of fat and chemicals and sugar. Should they be held accountable for us eating too much?
Yeah, the brain is a very powerful thing.
We actually did a brain series. We have to go, but we're learning so much about things like addiction and aggression in terms of the brain's chemistry.
Very much.
We appreciate that, man. We appreciate that, man. We don't own the rights to that. Let's go ahead and clap that up, man. Powerful. Infotainment at its best, man. I'm telling you, nobody gonna do it like BMore4Real. So make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. We're not just talking this, and we're not just making this up. You understand what I'm saying?
We're alive, we're real, and you can feel
man,
us. You know what I mean?
they said so much things in this thing, and like I was trying to say, they're not trying to say that food addiction is a thing, and they can't say it because America is basically the people that provide us with the food. Most of our foods is processed. The way that we used to get our foods is not that way. We used to at least have farmers. They had chicken coops and all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? We had our own ways to do stuff. But now since the government want to regulate everything down to the way that we eat food, now you got to question, well, where the heck does it come from? What the heck you putting in this? How is it being raised and brought up? You know, now we that's why food addiction is not being labeled a thing, because they're messing with the foods and they're intentionally making it like a drug. She tried to say it don't, but they at the same time admitted that it creates dopamine effects in the body. We know that. We know that they making food that give you the same effects that they have dope. And then she told you this. Then she told you that food is more addictive than heroin and crack cocaine and all this other stuff. They said it, and we already said it too when we was talking about sugar being an addiction. If not, y'all should go back and we already was talking about this. That's why I say be more for real, man. We be talking about the realest stuff ever because we was talking about how sugar is more addictive than cocaine. People don't realize that. If you stop having sugar in your diet, just try it. You're going to have mean withdrawals, man. Mean withdrawals just by not having sugar and high fructose corn syrup. I'm telling you, they're making food to be addictive and not nutritious.
It's not meant. It can be beneficial in finances if it's no other way. They have to keep luring you in so you can keep repeatedly doing the same thing.
Right.
You see? So they suck you in.
Right.
And leave you dry.
Right.
But guess what? We know health-wise, we got to keep this body. It's a temple. We got to keep it right. You know how it is. But like a lot of times, it's that being greedy. Mm-hmm. We like that. We like to be greedy. Mm-hmm. But I never knew chicken was a bad thing anyway. I'm a still bit of
That's why I did a poll too on Facebook. Matter of fact, before we get out of here.
Again.
I did another poll on Facebook and I asked people, do you prefer big chicken? Because it's the thing. Chicken in America are 4 to 5 times bigger than anywhere else in the world. That's a fact.
Do you like a big chicken breast?
Do you like the big chicken?
Want a little chicken? Tiny little chicken wing.
So we had about 9 votes on here, and only 1 person voted yes. 6 people voted no, and then 2 people said
no for what? They don't like big chicken breasts.
No, they don't like, and all these people are black, by the way. The people that said no, they was black. Shout out to black people because we know better. Shout out to black people. A lot of us know better. Yo, we got to be more proud about our heritage and situations like that too. When they tell you to hate on your own self and all that stuff, you gatekeeping, man. Shout out to black people, man. Shout out black kings and queens across the universe and across the country, man. For real, shout us out because we do great things and we need to be recognized for that.
Absolutely.
But shout out to black people because a lot of black people are skeptical. I went to places, man, and they didn't even know. I'm like, can I see a chicken? I'm like, you got big chicken? They're like, yeah, we got big chicken. I'm like, no, that's all I need to hear. You think you trying to make a sale? You lost one.
See, I'm the opposite. Now, I go there, I want a big old chicken breast. You want mine?
No, not me. No. I
dump hot sauce and season all and salt and pepper. Let me tell you why. My diet is different. A glutton is not in my diet. So when I do want a big chicken breast, I can.
He said, when I do indulge, I might as well go all the way in. Let's get some love for that, man.
It keeps you.
I'm away, man.
It keeps you being greedy. You know what I mean? Some of us eat all day, every day. That's why we so messed up. We eat fat and chips and Doritos and anything. I mean, we eat any and everything all day long.
Everything has to be done in moderation, but I don't trust no big chicken, and I would suggest the rest of America not to.
No big chicken breast. I love them.
No big chicken breast
with hot sauce.
But hey, man, this is come to the conclusion. We appreciate all the live viewers.
I hate when it gets to the end,
know,
y'all.
Man, but
we gotta leave ya.
We appreciate y'all, man. We hope y'all learned something today, man. It's Be More For Real. I'm OMG Danny.
Be More For Real, Uncle Wayne.
Hey, man, come and join us next Wednesday.
We'll see you there.
We out.